Let's go Browns! Imagine adding a former wide receiver with over 1,700 passing yards overnight. Imagine signing a 6 feet 4 inches player with a strong physical presence in the red zone, entering his career prime. Imagine creating competition for the quarterback position with a seasoned veteran who has already won major games. And then imagine the unthinkable, getting rid of one of your key defenders to free up salary cap space. All of these scenarios are being discussed, and time is running out. This offseason isn't just about adjusting the roster. It's about defining the Cleveland Browns' identity. Will they be aggressive, strategic, conservative, or are they about to surprise the league? Before we analyze all of this, click the like button if you're ready for a bold offseason and leave a comment right now with a play you would make if you were in charge of this team. I want to see how the Browns Nation would react to this moment. Let's go. Let's start with the headline grabber. Tyreek Hill is officially a free agent after being cut by the Miami Dolphins. That's not speculation. That's real. And when a player with his resume becomes available, you at least pick up the phone. Hill is 31 years old and coming off a brutal ACL tear in week 4, and it wasn't just the ACL. Multiple injuries in his leg made it a gruesome situation. That's the risk. But before that injury, we're talking about a receiver who posted back-to-back 1,700-plus yard seasons in 2022 and 2023. That kind of production doesn't just disappear overnight. The question is whether the explosion comes back after an injury like that. And then there are the off-field concerns, including past legal trouble that every front office has to weigh. If he's looking at a one-year prove-it type deal, maybe around $10 million, do you take the swing? Because if he's even close to what he was, that instantly changes your offense. Now here's the name that might make even more football sense. Michael Pittman Jr. The Athletic listed him as a potential cut candidate, and the financials are what make this interesting. Pittman totaled a career-high 7 receiving touchdowns in 2025, but his yardage dipped to 784, his lowest since his rookie year in 2020. He turns 29 in October and carries a $29 million cap hit in 2026. The Indianapolis Colts could save $24 million by releasing him with only $5 million in dead money. That's a massive number. And with Alec Pierce reportedly emerging as their top receiver option, you can see how this becomes a real possibility. From a Browns perspective, Pittman checks boxes. He's 6'4", 223 pounds. He's physical. He's a red zone threat. He's consistently hovered around 1,000 yards in his career and hit that mark in 2023. This team needs a bona fide wide receiver one. The drop issues, the lack of separation, the inconsistency in chemistry, it showed up. Pittman could walk in and immediately be your most reliable target. He wouldn't come cheap. If Alec Pierce is projected north of $20 million per year, Pittman might land somewhere in that $15 to $18 million range. That's a serious investment. But are you willing to pay for stability and size on the outside? Then there's the quarterback situation. Kirk Cousins is widely expected to be released by the Atlanta Falcons. If he's still on the roster by March 13th, they owe him a $67.9 million bonus. That financial trigger makes this more than rumor. Last season, he threw 10 touchdowns to 5 interceptions and helped Atlanta finish on a 4-game win streak. The Browns aren't necessarily desperate to land him, but if he's available on a reasonable deal, you at least consider the competition angle. Bring him in, let him compete. If he wins the job, great. If not, you've got a veteran backup and mentor presence in the room. That's value, especially in a quarterback room that needs clarity and leadership. On the offensive line, Ezra Cleveland is another intriguing name. The Jacksonville Jaguars are $11 million over the cap, and releasing Cleveland would save them $4 million. He posted a 71.4 pass blocking grade, allowed 4 sacks and committed 3 penalties in 2025. At 6'6", he's a legitimate guard option who could provide both depth and starting capability. And let's be honest, Cleveland bringing in Cleveland is almost too perfect from a narrative standpoint. And then we get to the stunner. NFL.com listed Denzel Ward as a potential cut option for the Browns because of his $32.9 million cap hit in 2026, which is the highest on the team outside of Deshaun Watson. The argument is that a post-June 1 designation could save $20 million, and with the Browns just $2.3 million under the cap, the flexibility would help. But let's be real, you don't get better in the AFC North by cutting one of your best defensive players. Ward is a cornerstone. When healthy, he's among the elite corners in football. Sticky coverage, willing to shadow top receivers, athletic enough to recover on any route. If anything, you restructure, you don't cut. And that's why this offseason feels like a pivot point for the franchise. You're sitting just $2.3 million under the cap right now, according to the same report, and every decision has to be calculated. You can't just chase names. You have to chase impact. You have to chase value. And most importantly, you have to chase fit. Let's circle back to the wide receiver discussion because that's where this entire conversation really heats up. If Tyreek Hill is healthy enough to pass a physical and show explosiveness during workouts, the upside is undeniable. Even at 31, even coming off that devastating leg injury, the last fully healthy seasons we saw were elite. Back-to-back 1,700-yard campaigns don't happen by accident. Defensive coordinators still lose sleep over that kind of speed. But you have to ask yourself, are the Browns in a position to gamble on recovery and off-field baggage? A one-year deal makes sense if you're betting on upside without long-term commitment. It's high risk, high reward. If it hits, you've got a game breaker. If it doesn't, you're not crippled for years. Michael Pittman Jr., on the other hand, feels like the steadier investment. The numbers dipped in yardage last season to 784, but the 7 touchdowns were a career high. That tells you he's still producing in critical situations. Red zone efficiency matters. Physical receivers matter in December football. And financially, the Colts have real incentive to move on if they believe Alec Pierce is their future number one. If Pittman becomes available, you're talking about a player entering his age 29 season with size, consistency, and proven production. That's not a gamble. That's a calculated addition to stabilize your passing game. Now shift to quarterback. Kirk Cousins isn't flashy at this stage, but he's experienced. 10 touchdowns to 5 interceptions last year while helping close out the season strong shows there's still competence there. And with that $67.9 million roster trigger looming for Atlanta on March 13th, the timeline is real. If he's cut, the Browns have to at least evaluate the market, not as a savior, not as a headline, but as competition. If you're building a room that includes a young quarterback you want to develop, having a veteran who has seen everything the league can throw at him carries value. The key is price. It always comes back to price. Ezra Cleveland might not move the needle nationally, but internally he could matter just as much as any receiver signing. Offensive line depth is never glamorous until it becomes essential. A 71.4 pass blocking grade, for sacks allowed, 3 penalties, that's solid, not spectacular, but dependable. And dependable is exactly what this offense needs. If Jacksonville needs to clear $4 million and makes him available, you have to be proactive. Protecting your quarterback and establishing stability up front is non-negotiable in this division. And then we land back on Denzel Ward. The idea of cutting him to create $20 million in cap savings sounds clean on paper. But football isn't played on spreadsheets. It's played on Sundays against elite quarterbacks and top-tier receivers. Ward gives you a fighting chance every single week. Yes, the cap hit is massive at $32.9 million in 2026. Yes, restructures are uncomfortable, but elite corners are rare. You don't voluntarily create another hole just to plug a financial one. If anything, you adjust the structure, spread the hit, and keep your defensive cornerstone intact. This is the balancing act facing the front office right now. Big names, real financial implications, real roster needs. You can't sign everyone. You can't fix everything in one swing. But if even one of these opportunities materializes at the right price, it could shift the trajectory of the season. Because when you zoom out, this isn't just about adding talent, it's about identity. What kind of team are the Browns trying to be this year? Are they chasing explosive upside with a name like Tyreek Hill, hoping that even 80% of his former production changes defensive game plans overnight? Or are they leaning into physicality and reliability with someone like Michael Pittman Jr., who gives you size, red zone presence, and a consistent chain mover who just posted a career high in touchdowns despite the dip in yardage? And think about the ripple effect. If you land a true number one receiver, everything else settles into place. Your younger wideouts aren't forced into roles they're not ready for. Your quarterback doesn't have to force tight window throws every third down. The play calling opens up. That's the value of a legitimate top option. That's why this decision is bigger than just numbers on a contract. Up front, adding Ezra Cleveland wouldn't dominate headlines, but games in the AFC North are won in the trenches. Cold weather, physical fronts, division rivals that pride themselves on pressure. A guard who can hold up in pass protection and bring stability matters more than people realize. Protect first, then attack. And at quarterback, even if Kirk Cousins isn't the long-term vision, competition sharpens a roster. You don't hand